You've already expressed some positive experiences that gaming has had on you. But how about any negative consequences you've had by playing MMORPGs over the years that affected IRL? Missed birthdays, family events, friend meetups that you regret not going to, etc. Have you changed your gaming habits over the years to be more flexible to IRL situations? Now, this is a quote. One of my first ever subs on Twitch, first ever subscribers on YouTube, absolute hell of a guy. I'm not going to give his name out for privacy's sake. This is a question he asked me in my Discord as I was polling my Discord on picking one video topic a week related to a month related to MMORPGs and gaming that I could, make a video on to kind of give back and give a little more content of what people are really looking for. And this one hit me really hard because one of my more recent videos, video gaming, gaming has saved my life, which is still absolutely 100% true. If you haven't seen that yet, that video is in the description below. But I wanted to address this, and it was also a huge coincidence that when this happened, I got a video in my feed that Joe Rogan did a video explaining how video games are a waste of time. And so I want to touch on that too, because this is kind of a deep topic. I apologize. I decided not to script this video because I want to, straight from me to you, right from the heart. If you don't like it, that's fine. Go fuck yourself. But anyway, let's do the title drop for the video, and then let's show you what Joe Rogan had to say.
I am Razio.
But I think that there's a lot of people that don't have any. There's no one. They're not modeling their life after someone that they see that they admire, someone that's successful, someone that is doing something that they enjoy and love. Sometimes kids have to see that. Right. And if their parents are living a bullshit life and their neighbors live in a bullshit life and most of their family lives a bullshit life, they just fucking lay around, Yep. And then they seek refuge in drugs or video games or something that stimulates them. And video games are a real problem. They're a real problem. You know why? Because they're fucking fun.
Addictive.
And I have a real problem with them. And you do them and they're real exciting, but you don't get anywhere.
Right.
It's like you could do like martial arts, right? You could learn jujitsu. You get obsessed by jiu-jitsu, and then 3 years later, you're like an elite jiu-jitsu athlete. You're entering in competitions. You're a purple belt.
You're moving up.
Yeah, you're doing well. Right. You're thinking like, I might be able to open my own school one day.
You got confidence.
Yeah, if I have 100 students and those 100 students are paying me X amount of dollars per month, I can make a living. Holy shit, I can have this would be amazing. And then you see your jiu-jitsu school, and your jiu-jitsu instructor has all these students and drives a Mercedes, and he's got a nice family, and that's the future. This way, you're doing something exciting and fun, and or you could just be playing fucking video games. 3 years later, you could be that same kid just playing video games, waiting for the next whatever the fuck game is, next Xbox game to come out, and you're gonna waste your time.
You have children. I have children, and it's a big battle in the house. Yes. And my kids, I don't know if you're going through this, but my kids are now saying, well, Dad, this guy made all this money with this video game. That's
real too. That's
right?
real too now.
So that's 1 in a billion, kid.
All right. Now, I wanted to go into this first before I gave my own personal opinions. Now, I was with Joe Rogan up to a degree up until he said it's a waste of time. Because literally everything he names when he brought in the whole jiu-jitsu comment it's all success measured by society standards. And maybe I'm in the minority here, but I kind of live with the mindset of fuck society and fuck what society makes you think is success. Because I want everybody listening to this video to really think hard and think honestly and answer this question. How many people do you know that actually did get the quote unquote American dream? And if you're from another country, you still probably know what that means. The picket fence, the house, the kids, the wife, or the husband, if you're a woman, whatever. And you have all that. But how many of those people do you know that did get all that were considered successful by society, good contributors to society, right? And they're fucking miserable. They're either, overtly on the outside, they're miserable. But I think more common, behind closed doors, they're fucking miserable, right? Their kids are pains in the ass. There's nagging nonstop. Even though they're successful, their money still can be tight. Because I'm a huge believer in money doesn't buy happiness. It really doesn't. It fucking doesn't. I mean, look at people in Hollywood killing themselves left and right, and they definitely don't have money problems. But for the most part. And the fact that Joe Rogan compared it to a drug, yeah, it can be used that way. See my, podcast about escapism. But it's also, he contradicts himself right in his own sentence when at the beginning he said, the reason video games are a problem is because they're fun. And then in the end of the video, he says, the reason why being jujitsu and doing all that is because it's exciting and fun. Well, that's the fucking same thing, man. They're both fun. The only difference is society views you being a jujitsu master as more acceptable than you like to play video games, right? Now, and I totally agree with him on some things. Yes, you do need one of the biggest things, and I'll get into this when I get into about my own feelings about my own experiences. Back to the original question, the person on my Discord asked me about what parts of video games have negatively affected my life, because they can, just like drinking alcohol can, doing drugs can. But guess what? Pro tip. Fucking following what society says is good and acceptable and makes you successful and popular can be really fucking bad for you too. And that's something people don't recognize. So back to the original statement. Oh, and then one more thing. This guy then in the end goes into, hey man, when your kid tells you can make money playing video games, that's 1 in a billion. Well, guess what? It's also not very good odds that you're going to be having fun, be happy, and make all your income from doing something you absolutely love. You know how rare that is? Most people have jobs. Some people have careers, and the very, very, small few have their dream career, which is where work doesn't ever feel like work, right? So you can't be held to those standards either and shut people down, right? So, I mean, me personally, I've been in the acting industry for over 20 years, and I am a black belt in a couple different martial arts, and I taught. I was a sensei for a while at a school that one of my best friends owned, right? And yeah, it was great. It was awesome. I was making money doing something that I really, really liked. But it didn't fulfill me. All my problems didn't go away because I did that thing. Okay, enough tangents. Going into the question. Now, when he first asked me this question, nothing immediately came to my mind as, oh yeah, there was this one time, that. No, I mean, in general, I'm one of those guys that kind of thinks that in general, human beings fucking suck. In general, I don't like people. But throughout the years of gaming, and especially with MMORPGs, because they're so involved and you spend so much time to get far into these types of games, there probably were, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but there probably were times where, I skipped out on something that I probably should have gone to, and I would have had more fun going to the thing that my friends invited me to or my family invited me to. But I would say the vast majority of the time that I chose to play a game over do something else, I made the right decision, mainly because I'm sure you guys have done it where you're like, yeah, I should go out, I should do something, I got invited. So you go out, and the whole time you're there is like, man, this fucking blows. These people suck. Or this isn't fun. You're forcing yourself to enjoy the company of other people that you don't necessarily like that much. You'd rather be playing your game, right? I don't see how that's any different from someone who says, man, I don't want to hang out. I'd rather practice playing basketball. I'd rather, I don't want to miss this show I've been really waiting to see. Or I want to practice, doing whatever. Some other hobby. I want to work on my car, fix my engine. I don't see how it's different. It's just that society views gaming and gamers in a very negative light, even to this day. So back to the original question. One of the biggest things that did affect me negatively in my real life, because I was gaming and I was really into MMOs, was my personal health. And I think this is part of why gamers get a bad reputation, because let's face it, the stereotypes are based off of truth, and the stereotype for gamers is, especially MMO neckbeard, gamers or weeaboos or whatever, is that they have shitty hygiene, they shower rarely, they don't work out, they eat like shit, they drink nonstop soda, their teeth are rotting, and they're just look like fat, gross nerds. And you know what? That's not all true. Of course not. There's a lot of people that aren't like that. A lot of gamers that game that take very good care of themselves. But the stereotype exists for a reason. I would say most gamers are in very bad shape and they look and smell like shit. And it's just a fact. Just accept it. And because this happened to me. I was gaming, going so hard into games like Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, Assurance Call, Dark Age of Camelot, the MMOs I play. And my health suffered. I was pounding back 8 to 10 Dr. Peppers a day, eating like shit, like fast food all the time, never really get up and do anything. And I got fat. And this, is coming from somebody who in my teenage years, I was, teenage years and early 20s, I was a martial artist, heavy into martial arts. I was a sponsored skateboarder. I was in shape. One of my jobs as a kid was I was a valet for a parking garage, and the parking garage was almost a mile away. So anytime someone would have to come get their car, I'd run. I was in good shape, man. But, gaming seemed more important than my health, and I let that go for a long time. Which really woke me up, because I was like, man, I felt disgusted with myself. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to look good, and not look good so that other people thought I looked good. I wanted to look in the mirror and think I look good and I feel healthy. Fuck what other people think, right? Because then you have more respect for yourself. If you're fat and lazy and a slob, and because you can't pull away yourself from your game for 30 minutes to take care of yourself, and you can't eat right, I'm sorry, man, but it's, how can you expect anyone else to respect you when you clearly don't fucking respect yourself? And that's in the position that I was in. And since then, I've gone into great shape. I'm in the best shape of my life now. Work out every day. I eat clean, and I'm continuing to modify my diet and everything in my workout regimen. So it's not over the top, but I can get to my ideal body weight, which is I want to get in between 10 and 13% body fat. And right now I'm sitting around 14 to 15. It fluctuates, and I'm trying to get there, and it's really hard, but I set a goal for myself, and that's what I'm working on doing. Take care of yourselves, guys. Take care of your bodies. Take care of, because when you're healthy physically, you're mentally going to feel a lot better too. Now, I'm sure that how much I game affected my marriage that has since failed 2 years ago to some degree. But it wasn't like I was playing MMORPGs 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day while I was married. That wasn't the case at all. I'd be playing between 2 and 6 hours at the most. I would say on average it's probably around 4 to 5 hours a day. And the thing is I'll be 100% honest. Playing video games was more fun than hanging out with my ex-wife most of the time, because she had no fucking interest. She had nothing she wanted to do that was fun. Like for her, watching reality TV was fun. For or just sitting around, and I was like, that's a fucking waste of time. Or seeing her family, going to her family's house. Like, I don't want to fucking do that. But I think the biggest problem there was, and I know this is not all women, right? So don't call me a fucking misogynist or whatever. I'm just speaking from my personal experience. But every woman I dated before my wife, including my wife, except for one, right? Except for one chick, always viewed anything I did, not just gaming, anything I did that I enjoyed, as direct competition. So what I mean by that is, like, if you go to your friend's house and you see him really enjoying building a car, right? Or, riding a skateboard, or playing a video game, or painting or drawing or whatever, if the first thing you think is not, wow, they really like that, that's cool. If the first thing you think is, well, because they like that, it means they don't like me as much. If that's your first thought, then go fuck yourself. You're a piece of shit, and you need to grow the fuck up, right? So every woman I dated was like that except for one, where it was, you know, anything that I liked to do meant I didn't like being with them. Now, which is not true. It's like, hey, if you want me to spend less time on this game and more time with you, maybe you should be more fucking interesting than the game. You know, most can't. Most can't. And not just women, people. Most people can't be more interesting than the fucking game. You know, more fun to spend time with, which is fucking sad. I mean, my dog is more fun to spend time with than most of the women I dated. But anyway, I digress. That's not the point of this video. But as far as I know, as far as I can remember anyway, I don't remember ducking out on any activities that really mattered to play a video game, such as missing a important family member's death, you know, like their funeral or their wedding or, you know, graduation or something. Nothing immediately springs to mind. But I'm sure there are some things that I decided I'd rather play the game. And I think a good way I've grown and learned to tell is you have to ask yourself this. I'm going to close this video out saying this because I know this has kind of been a rambly going on video. I'm going to have more content out later, either this week or next week, that's more related to, you know, actual games. So I'm going to be talking about power creep that's evident in MMORPGs. But here's a good way to figure it out. If the reason you want to play a game instead of go out with your friend when he invites you, or, you know, go out to dinner with them, or go to a family event, if the reason why is because you're like, man, I'm having so much more fun in this game and I don't like those people, I don't like hanging out with those people, then I think you picking the game is fine. However, if your reason for picking the game is, man, I really want to go do that with them, but it's just easier to sit here and play, or if I don't do these daily quests, I'll be behind, then you're making a mistake and you should go hang out with those people, right? People that are really close to me and more important to me know that I prioritize, you know, them over the game if what they have going on is important, and I know it means a lot to them. But man, don't measure your success though by what society says is successful. Don't measure your success. Use me as a perfect example. In my day job, I make plenty of money. I play lots of games. I mean, I've had a lot of success, you know, in acting and off Broadway and all around the country and in some television shows. And I've had a lot of, you know, I did really well in the martial arts. I was a sponsor skateboarder for a while. But you know what? I get just as miserable and unhappy as anybody else. And there is no magic pill or magic bullet that's gonna make everything all right. And if playing video games, you know, obviously in moderation. If you're sitting and never taking care of yourself and pissing in jars and you play 18 hours a day and then your heart stops because you're so fucking fat, that's a problem. But if you're playing in moderation and you're really playing because you enjoy playing, not just to kill time and be lazy, then I think you're fine. Anyway, guys, this has been Rozzy. I'll leave your comments down below. What are your thoughts on what Joe Rogan said? What are your thoughts on what I said? What are your independent thoughts in general? But as always, my friends, keep it real.